everyone, and welcome to what is unusually the Thursday practice review here in Monaco due to the fact that we don't run on the Friday. And what an interesting day it was. It was a very close fought run for the two Mercedes. They seem to be dominant here on Thursday. Formula 1 moves away from Spain then and onto the Principality of Monte Carlo for round 6 of the season. And what a place to race in the streets of Monaco. Round 6 of the season, as we say here, 2 weeks' time, we're in Canada for the Canadian Grand Prix before the 3 back-to-back Europes of France, Austria, then it's the British Grand Prix, the halfway stage of the season, Germany and Hungary before the summer break, then Belgium and Italy wrap up the European season, then we go to Singapore, Russia, Japan, and then the Americas of Mexico, United States and Brazil before wrapping up in the desert of Abu Dhabi on the 1st of December. It's Lewis Hamilton that leads the Drivers' Championship after winning in Bahrain, China and last time out in Spain. Teammate Valtteri Bottas is second on 105 points, winning in Australia and Azerbaijan. Crucially, if Bottas wins here and Hamilton is second, they will be level on points. Meanwhile, Verstappen is still ahead of Vettel, and not to score any points, Giovinazzi, Russell and Robert Kubica. It's been a poor season so far for those 3 drivers. And in terms of the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes winning 5 Grand Prix in a row to start the season. 1-2s for each of their drivers, a new record in Formula 1. Every team has scored points, bar the Rocket Williams Racing. It's Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, McLaren and Racing Point the top 5, from Haas, Alfa, Renault, Toro Rosso and then the Williams in 10th. So with the whole of Formula 1 in mourning for Niki Lauda, we push on here for the Thursday preview and race with him in our hearts. Let's take a look then at the first practice review, where the top 3 were separated just by a tenth of a second. Hamilton, Verstappen and Bottas. Hamilton won 12.106, Verstappen second, Bottas third, Leclerc fourth and Sebastian Vettel in 5th place. As running began on Thursday in Monaco, Lewis Hamilton, as I said, led, but surprisingly, it was just by 0.059 of a second, so 0.05 of a second. That is incredible pace around Monaco. His teammate, though, Lewis Hamilton's, Valtteri Bottas, incredibly close to the Finn, ending up just 0.072 seconds off the pace. An incredible performance in Monaco for everybody. Local hero Charles Leclerc appearing on the streets he grew up in for the first ever time as a Ferrari driver. Was his team's leading driver in 4th place. He was 0.361 seconds off the pace. Teammate Sebastian Vettel was 5th, ahead of the second Red Bull driver of Pierre Gasly. Nico Hülkenberg led the midfield charge for Renault as the German impressed to end up with a tenth of a second of Gasly's time, suggesting that the top 3 teams might have to watch their backs in qualifying if they want to prevent one of the midfield teams of Renault and Haas and Racing Point jumping up the order. We'll keep an eye on that as well. FP1 was littered with small errors as the drivers got their eye in on the circuit. There's still green Monaco track, of course, because they only race around it once or twice a year. Formula E as well race around it just beforehand, and then we get the running order as well for Formula 1 just 2 weeks later. So, particularly Turn 1 at Saint-Devote seemed to be the issue. With the runoff area, the likes of Sebastian Vettel and Valtteri Bottas, Lando Norris and Lance Stroll all going off during the session down at Turn 1 of Saint-Devote. Named Saint-Devote because just after there's a little chapel as well. As we've got a fly in front of me, so I apologise for that. As well, for wafting it away. Honestly, we're outside in an outdoor studio, and I wish you could see it because it's like it's Monaco's traffic jam just outside our studio. It's unbelievable. So another fly gets battered away. It's summer and it's raining, so I'll give you an expect. So yeah, elsewhere, Verstappen ran on at Mirabeau. Gasly did well to keep his RB15 out of the barriers of the swimming pool as he saved a massive snap there. Well, luckily, Robert Kubica span his Williams FW42 out of Casino Square sideways, knocked off the front wing just ever so slightly, but it was able to get back to the pit lane as well. Now, just 10 minutes into the session, bizarrely, there was 2 black flags. Romain Grosjean, car 8, and Kevin Magnussen, car 20, were given black flags, and we could not have an idea of what that was for until later on when we spoke to Gunther Steiner, because apparently the team had lost all telemetry and radio contact with the drivers and they weren't seeing the pit boards. So it was unsafe to leave them out there with no information on the car and no pit to shore radio. So Gunther Steiner asked the race director, Michael Masi, to black flag them and come back in and get it gone again as soon as the problem was fixed. So, interesting solution for them. But a black flag for the first time since 2007, when Giancarlo Fisichella and Felipe Massa left the pit lane under safety car and got black flag for it. Down in McLaren, it was a tough start to the weekend for Carlos Sainz, as he spent the majority of the session sat at the back of the garage as the mechanics struggled to fix a power unit issue. At a circuit where track time is premium, it wasn't the ideal for the Spaniard to get his Thursday running underway, although he's eventually made it out right at the end of the session just before finishing in 20th, ahead of the Racing Point of Lance Stroll. So, let's take a look at the times for Thursday FP1. So Lewis Hamilton topped the first practice session at 1:12.106, Max Verstappen second at 1:12.165, Valtteri Bottas third at 1:12.178, Charles Leclerc fourth at 1:12.467, Sebastian Vettel fifth at 1:12.823, Pierre Gasly sixth on a 1:13.171, followed by Nico Hülkenberg in seventh at 1:13.227, Kevin Magnussen eighth on 1:13.232, Kimi Räikkönen ninth at 1:13.363, Romain Grosjean in 10th at 1:13.379, Daniel Ricciardo 11th at 1:13.413, Antonio Giovinazzi is 12th at 1:13.437, Danny Kvyat 13th at 1:13.731, Alexander Albon 14th at 1:13.827, Lando Norris 15th at 1:14.278, Sergio Perez 16th at 1:14.566, George Russell 17th at 1:15.115, Robert Kubica 18th at 1:15.514, Lance Stroll 19th at 1:16.135, and Carlos Sainz in 20th at 2:670. Right, so the traffic mayhem seems to have abated outside of our studio. So here's the free practice 2 report then from the Monaco Grand Prix. And once again, Lewis Hamilton heads Valtteri Bottas as Mercedes edge ahead of opposition in Monaco. Free practice 1 was nip and tuck between the two Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas, as the Red Bull of Max Verstappen was gaining on them. But come FP2, it was an all-Mercedes affair, as the Silver Arrows finished over 7/10 clear of their nearest rivals following the session's qualifying simulations. And just to put that into perspective, Lewis Hamilton on 1:11.118, Valtteri Bottas second, Sebastian Vettel third, Pierre Gasly fourth, Alexander Albon in fifth. Not good as well for Max Verstappen, who ended up P7, but more about him later on. As FP2 witnessed a fascinating back and forth between Hamilton and Bottas, with the two drivers becoming the first to make it into the 1:11s bracket early on in the session before just backing up ever so slightly so they can get their race runs underway, because of course qualifying and the race is so crucial here at Monaco because it's so difficult to overtake. Interesting enough as well, their rivals couldn't get within 7/10 of them. Sebastian Vettel placed third for Ferrari, 0.763 seconds away. Massive gap, 7.5 tenths, massive gap. Even at Monaco, massive gap for Mercedes to pull out there. And Ferrari really got to hook it up coming into qualifying tomorrow. No, sorry, Saturday, isn't it? Because it's Thursday preview. See, first mistake of the weekend. As well. And having narrowly kept his front wing after a huge lock-up going into turn 1 for Sebastian Vettel, just caught the apex, locked up, went straight on, didn't hit the wall, luckily. Verstappen could have got the two Mercedes in FP2, but with the Dutchman only managing 10 laps before he was pulled into the Red Bull garage, with the mechanics working hard on a water leak in his RB15 as well. He ended up P6, one behind of the starts of the season. Toro Rosso's Alexander Albon, the Thai driver, was on pole position here in Formula 2 race last year and did 5th in the session here today in FP2 on his first outing here in Formula 1 machinery. A second place of Hamilton headline time as well, and 9 places up on teammate Danny Kvyat, who was P14. So not much really ended up in the session. It was a bit of a nip and tuck session, a few people being blocked, but Mercedes pretty much dominant here in Monaco. Let's take a look at the free practice 2 times now. So Lewis Hamilton tops the second practice session for Mercedes at 1:11.118. Valtteri Bottas second at 1:11.199. Sebastian Vettel third at 1:11.881. Pierre Gasly is fourth at 1:11.938. Alexander Albon is fifth at 1:12.031. Max Verstappen 6th at 1:12.052, Kevin Magnussen 7th at 1:12.174, Antonio Giovinazzi is 8th at 1:12.239, followed by Kimi Räikkönen 9th at 1:12.342, and Charles Leclerc in 10th at 1:12.350. Romain Grosjean is 11th at 1:12.392, Lando Norris is 12th at 1:12.393, Carlos Sainz 13th on a 1:12.419, and Danny Kvyat 14th at 1:12.577. Sergio Perez 15th at 1:12.752, Nico Hülkenberg is 16th at 1:12.872, followed by Danny Ricciardo 17th on a 1:12.888. Lance Stroll is 18th on a 1:14.558, George Russell 19th at 1:15.052, and Robbie Kubica in 20th on a 1:15.146. So domination is key here in Monaco. Mercedes seem to have that in abundance. They top free practice 1 and free practice 2, both with Lewis Hamilton. Will now be taking a day off. Nothing on Friday, with no practice happening at all. There is a Formula 2 feature race, so do watch that. There's always something interesting, and I bet you a tenner there's a red flag, because there always seems to be. So we'll be back Saturday morning for the free practice 3 report as well. Sunday we'll be on air at 1 o'clock for the Sunday race preview, and then of course we'll be on Wednesday for the Grand Review podcast at 8 o'clock as well. From us all here in Monaco, it's bye from Thursday, and we'll see you next on Saturday. Bye for now.